Hey guys, I'm Siren and I'm so excited to be bringing to you the third chapter of the insane SpongeBob fan fiction, No Going Back. I can't express how much fun I'm having doing this series, and I'm glad for the most part it's well received. It's so crazy and hilarious. I just like doing something that's low effort but high fun for me, and I hope you guys kind of feel the same way. But on the last chapter, we mainly just got introduced or reintroduced to some of the original characters, like Mr. Krabs, who's now a heroin addict, or always was. Squidward, who made out with SpongeBob one night, apparently, and now it's awkward. And Sandy, who is now my immortal emo. So today we'll be picking up on the next chapter after that, and this is Chapter 3, No Sanctuary. 4 p.m. Previous day. Sandy exits SpongeBob's kitchen with haste. Squidward snorts in her direction.
Lover boy isn't in the mood.
Squidward made a laugh that would be unrecognizable to some breeds of dogs. Sandy gave Squidward the finger, revealing a Christ tattoo coiled around her hand. Okay. She stormed off. How does she have a tattoo? She's covered in fur. She stormed off and exited the doors of the Krusty Krab, not before she ran into an old friend. Why, isn't it Sandy Cheeks? A man in an alligator green suit and a white fedora gave her a loving smile. Ooh, this guy is going to be some quality with that outfit choice. Sandy recognized him and instantly her heart dropped. He wrapped his arm around her, giving her a side hug. Come with me. This will be easy. He concealed a gun in his heavy overcoat. He ushered her to the black limousine. She stepped inside, knowing her fate if she refused or fought back. Inside the limo, a fish with fake teeth and a greasy face looked at her with contempt. How does a fish have a greasy face? Is it smothered in mayonnaise or something? Where is my money, Miss Cheeks? He was sipping some kind of alcoholic. That's what it actually says. And she could feel the motor start beneath her. I'll get it. I have it. I will give it to you, tonight. Sandy was lying, of course. She looked around shiftily. To both her sides were large fish in similar garb, wielding large guns. The fish across her were wrapped in jewels, poking into his fat stomach. The fish chuckled. You are one terrible liar, he said. He smirks at Sandy and pistol whips her. 10 p.m. Sandy Cheeks wakes up, her head killing her. The fish who attacked her were sitting there, waiting for her to wake up. Well, morning, sleepyhead, says the white fedoraed fish. Sandy never got to learn their names. However, none of them looked like anyone she ever knew. Sandy said nothing. You don't need to tell us any more lies. Your time is up. Sandy flinches as he steps towards her. She looked around, avoiding eye contact as he got even closer to her. They were in the house, in her house, her dome. She whimpers at the realization, but everyone else around her just looked fascinated with her. You will meet a watery grave here, squirrel. He laughs maniacally. So this was it. Her time had finally come. The pleas of her help were useless no matter what she did. SpongeBob never offered to help her. The thing was, he probably would have had the money to help her, had he not gambled away his paycheck every Friday night. All she needed was a little money from the loan sharks. She was desperate in pain for an invention she was working on. Funding was originally cut after an accident, but people still keep their passions. Even though the accident was covered up, the institution never forgets. The institution... was she making sense? Oh my gosh. Caught in her mind, she didn't notice the fish leave. All she heard was a faint gunshot and the cracking of glass. Sandy's stomach dropped. They were shooting at the glass dome. The hissing of water was stabbing her ears, and the timer on her life began to count down. Sandy looked around for something to untie her. She was an inventor. She could solve this. She was bound and gagged, tied to a chair with her hands behind her. Her feet, well enough, were tied together, but not to the chair. She didn't know how long she had before the water would inevitably drown her. Where was her helmet? The more she struggled, the tighter the binds felt, slowly stabbing into her wrists. She was in her own bedroom. She strained her neck to look out the tree at the cracking dome. The hissing grew as pieces of glass exploded from the bottom of her dome. The water was slowly filling up. Sandy knew she would die here. She was certain of it. 9 p.m. I'm sorry, this time thing reminds me of the TV show 24. SpongeBob finished his first shift. His lunch break was really the highlight of his day. Squidward never ate with him. Besides the fact the employee kitchen was a 2x2 broom closet with 2 chairs, they always sat in silence. Besides the crunching of food beneath their teeth, Squidward never made eye contact with SpongeBob, but SpongeBob constantly glared at Squidward, though. Lunch break over, SpongeBob went back to the grind and continued to stare at the back of Squidward's beautiful bald head. So SpongeBob actually has a thing for Squidward. I mean, if you take from the point of view of the show, you can kind of tell that SpongeBob has a thing for Squidward, but it's a kid's show. They're not supposed to have sexual orientations, but if you adultify it a little bit, yeah, he's definitely wanting to bang. I can't believe I just said that. The night shift was always the easiest. That's why he preferred them. Less customers, less complaints, less work. God, he wondered, have I really changed that much? Krabs stumbled drunkenly into the room. SpongeBob, I need you to... He began to cough from talking so fast. Sorry, I read it like that. It's actually all one word, pretty much. Krabs was clearly high on, according to under his nose, Coke. Clean up a spill out front. Krabs had lost all feeling after he blew all his money on the mountains of Coke. I thought he did heroin. He now walks around a shell of a man he was before. Already on it. SpongeBob felt like death at that point. He had been working for a few straight hours already. 11:30 p.m. Sandy Cheeks had been using her legs to pick up the floating boat keys not too far from her. It was barely out of reach, and the water was rising fast. It had reached the top of her tree, and at her shin she was touching the keys with the tip of her boots, slowly dragging them towards her. She finally gets a hold of the keys, and she angles them on her restraints. She held the keys between her boots and used the keys to cut the rope that bound her hands together. Her hands were eventually freed as the water splashes around her. It had to be at least half full by now, and the flow of water did not stop. She was quickly able to free herself once her hands were free, and she sprung into action now that she was able-bodied again. Gotta find a way out of here, she whispered to herself. The hole in the top of the dome was sitting there, menacingly. Oh, fucking references! The hole in the top of the dome was sitting there, menacingly. If she didn't find a way out soon, she'd die. Her sanctuary would soon be gone, the place she had made those inventions, created nights she'd never forget with various men and women, and so much more. So much more! What other is there than that? There would be no sanctuary after tonight. Roll credits. When I get out of here, they're all fucking dead. That was, of course, if she didn't die, too. She had her suit and boots on, but could not find her bowl. She scrambled around the filling room. As the water line grew higher in her tree, she would need hours to find a way out. Given her situation, she may not have hours. Sandy felt the water pressing on into her chest. Her suit could only keep out so much water. Once it reached her neck, it would swell up like Mrs. Puff after her morning yoga. Okay. She trudged through her bedroom for the exit. Where was her damn helmet? She felt pure adrenaline pushing through her veins. She was not thinking. She was an autopilot. Sandy was unable to take control of her body. She had the strong feeling in her heart of death. The water was closing up to her neck. She had to swim now. She scrambled through the house, checking everywhere for her fucking helmet. Sandy felt a myriad of feelings, including fear, frustration, and strangely enough, content. 12 a.m. She didn't know what to do. She double-checked, no, triple-checked her house. There's no extra oxygen helmets. The water sloshed in her tree. It was completely submerged in the salty sea. Sandy began to flee her home, but as she passed her kitchen, she felt a tug. She glanced down. Shit. Her boot was stuck. Her right boot was wedged in the fridge door. How? Yeah, how is what I'm asking too. She did not know. She looked towards the exit of her treehouse, only a yard away. Her clunky boots would not budge from the refrigerator door's handle. The average human can only hold their breath for 2 minutes, but sadly Sandy was a squirrel and could not hold her breath nearly as long. Over a minute had passed for Sandy to be absent of air. She bent down and hurriedly untied her shoes. Why didn't she do that before she was holding her breath? Sadly, they were goth biker boots, and they had roughly 100 loops down her shin. Ah, well, the fucking being a goth has been the death of you, Sandy. Good job. And I'm not saying anything about goths. I'm just jabbing fun, so don't get triggered. She felt herself get lighter as her head felt dreamy. She was so close to gasping for air. Shit. Sandy looked down. Shit. Sandy untied the wrong shoe on the wrong foot. Well, good job, you fucking idiot. Sandy had to start again and slowly undo her other foot, tugging her clawed rodent foot swiftly out of her shoe. She lost her breath. It slowly floated upwards. She clawed her way up and out of her tree. Outside the tree, what little oxygen remained in the top of her dome caressed her lungs, bringing her back from the brink. She could touch the ceiling of the dome, and the water was almost done filling up her home. "I'm going to die here," was all that repeated in her head. It couldn't shake from her. Sandy began to hyperventilate in her last seconds of life. The water flowing into the dome met the water that was already inside the dome. The different pressures of water finally collided. The extreme pressure of the water flowing in clashed so hardly with the water inside the dome, it created a reverse vacuum and sucked Sandy out. The glass dome exploded, and the glass from it flew around in shards with such pressure it cut across rocks around her dome. 1 a.m. Sandy lost consciousness in the water, leaving her body floating through the ocean arbitrarily. Alright, and that is the end of chapter 3. Now, I'm very sad that Sandy may have died, because that means I can't do this accent anymore. And I really like having excuses to do any kind of accent, even southern ones. So, I'm really gonna miss doing this accent. It's incredibly thick, incredibly stereotypical, but it's fun to do. But anyway, guys, I'm so loving this so much. Just so much. Let me know what you think of this story in the comments below. I'm Midnight Siren, and I will see you guys next time.